I don't normally do videos like these. I missed the first 2 weeks. With all the content that I put out, I haven't felt it was necessary to do these kind of videos, but I'm trying to change it up. So if y'all like these kind of videos, y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all want me to go ahead and produce these videos weekly as they update these rosters. So this video particularly will be for the week 3 roster update for Madden 25. And before we get in this video, real quick, if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with all Madden 25 content, updates, tutorials, franchise rebuild, etc. And it helps my channel out a great deal. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first player we have moving up is Derrick Henry. He moves up +1 to a 95, who Derrick Henry has had his first breakout game as a Raven against the Cowboys, rushing for 150 plus yards, plus what he added in a receiving game. And, you know, he's had some flashes. He's had some moments this season so far, but they haven't really given him the rock enough. Like, they take him out of the game in a lot of situations and put Justice Hill in, which I can't fathom why they constantly do that. After watching some of the games that I have watched, you would figure they leave him in more and utilize him more. But I think after the Cowboys game, they're going to utilize him a lot more going forward. And it's justified. He had an excellent game. He had a breakout game. He went nuts. Did great for my fantasy team. Yeah, so you got Derrick Henry moving up +1 to a 95. Next up, you got Josh Allen moving up +2 to a 94. And I will say, as somebody who, not necessarily somebody who dislikes Josh Allen, I just dislike how the media covers him versus how they cover certain other quarterbacks. But there's no secret. Josh Allen is a really gifted, really talented quarterback, and he's showing it this season. I think it's really good for him that he doesn't have a number one target that he has to shoot to 24/7, that he has to force feed the ball to 24/7. A lot of these teams don't understand these big time target receivers, these diva receivers. If you have a diva receiver, the quarterback's going to feel like they have to force feed that receiver. And what happens when you feel the need that you have to force feed this receiver? You create turnovers that shouldn't be created because you keep trying to force feed and satisfy that player. So now that he doesn't have a number one receiver that he has to force feed the ball to, he's playing lights out, and deservedly so. He went up +2 to a 94 overall in Madden. So I'd say it's justified. Next up, you got Aiden Hutchinson, who went up +2 to a 92. And this guy, not only throughout the season so far has he went up week by week, but since the day one when he first started with the Detroit Lions, he's progressively gotten better and better, and they really have themselves a gifted, talented edge rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. And if they get him a running mate to go on the opposite side of him, man, Detroit will be really, really dangerous on that D-line. So next up, you got Cameron Hayward, who went up +1 to a 91 overall, and he's been Mr. Consistent his entire career. He's been a great running mate to TJ Watt. And not just TJ Watt, but Alex Highsmith. Pittsburgh has a really legit defense, but Cameron Hayward has been a great player for a long time now. Quentin Nelson went up +2 to a 91. This guy, when he first came in the league, he was such an imposing force as one of the best guards in the league. If at one point they were considering him the best guard in the league over Zach Martin, and over that time he's kind of tapered down and fell off, but he's slowly trying to get himself back up to prominence. So he moves up +2 to a 91 overall. Then you have Aaron Jones for the Minnesota Vikings, went up +1 to a 89 overall. Everybody kind of threw dirt on him after Green Bay dropped him to pick up Josh Jacobs, but he seems to have picked up where he left off in Green Bay, but doing it for Minnesota now, and he's doing excellent work. Jonathan Taylor went up +2 to 89, who's kind of finding himself again after having a down year or so over the last couple years. And he's looking to be going back to form. And with them having Anthony Richardson at the helm and creating a dual threat, you can't necessarily focus all on Jonathan Taylor at one time. Now you have to worry about whether or not Anthony Richardson is going to take off and run on you, or what's going to happen. So Jonathan Taylor up +2. We got Ronnie Stanley up +1 to an 89 overall. Brock Purdy is up +1 to 88 overall. Even though the 49ers continue to lose, Brock Purdy doesn't really seem to be the reason that the 49ers are losing. Brock Purdy is still being consistent. And if anything, he's showing why he should improve when he's out here playing and putting up the numbers that he's putting up without his key weapons, without a Deebo Samuel, without a Christian McCaffrey, and so on and so forth. So him moving up to 88 overall is very justified. You have Kyle Hamilton moving up to a plus 88 overall, who played lights out against my Dallas Cowboys. And there's no shame in that. The guy, he's a baller. He's been a baller since he was in college, and even going to the Ravens, I knew that was the perfect organization for him to go to, just like Nate Wiggins. Dallas Goedert, that went up +2 to 87 overall, and arguably should move up +3 or +4 after the game and performance he put on against the New Orleans Saints, literally putting the Eagles on his back and winning that game for the Eagles. So that's very justified, but one can argue that he can go up a lot more. Elton Jenkins went up +1 to an 87 overall. You got Kenny Moore went up +1 to an 87 overall. You got Brandon Aubrey went up +1 to an 81 overall. DJ Reed Jr. went up +1 to an 86 overall. Devin Witherspoon went up +1 to an 86 overall as well. He's been balling out since his rookie year too as well for the Seattle Seahawks. They have a nice tandem in Seattle at the cornerback position. You have Xavier McKinney went up +1 to an 86 overall. He's been balling out as well. Quincy Williams went up +1 to an 85 overall. Ryan Kelly went up +1 to an 85 overall. Taylor Moton went up +1 to an 85 overall. Tremaine Edmonds went up +1 to an 85 overall as well. Kirk Cousins went up +1 to an 84 overall. Kirk has actually been looking like he's finding his rhythm and getting back to his old self here over these last couple weeks for Atlanta. Even though they are 1-2 right now, Kirk has still been doing what he should be doing for the Falcons, and they've been looking really decent. Will Anderson Jr., balling out since his rookie year, went up +1 to 84 overall. Rashee Rice, who honestly +1 isn't enough after not only the week, but the performance he continues to put on, the number one target he's continuously turning into for Patrick Mahomes. +1 is a little light. I think +2 or 3 would be more justified for Rashee Rice. Now I'm going to get into the players that have fallen in overalls. First up, you got Chris Lindstrom, right guard for the Atlanta Falcons, had dropped to a 93 overall, which I'm not understanding that because, if I'm not mistaken, I think he got hurt this past game. And that shouldn't have, him having an injury shouldn't have any effect on his overall. He still continues to be one of the better guards in the league. Tyron Smith fell -2 to a 91 overall. So I haven't been watching enough of the New York Jets games to know whether or not if Tyron has been declining or if he hasn't been the player that he once was. Y'all let me know in the comments if there's any Jets fans out there who watch the Jets who could tell me. Y'all let me know if this is justified or if it's not justified. DeMarcus Lawrence dropped -1 to a 90 overall. And with the way the whole Cowboys defense has been playing lately, everybody should drop, honestly, if you ask me. But I know they got the win last night, which is all fine and dandy, but it's the New York Giants. So only time will tell, but it's justified. A -1 is justified in my opinion, if you ask me. Andrew Thomas for the New York Giants went down -1 to an 88 overall. Josh Jacobs fell -1 to an 88 overall. Trayvon Diggs fell -1 to an 88 overall. Again, like I was just saying, with the way the Cowboys' entire defense is looking, I would drop everybody. So this all makes sense. As a Cowboys fan, this doesn't disappoint me at all. It's deserved. Javon Holland, safety for the Dolphins, fell -1 to an 87 overall. Joel Bitonio, guard for the Browns, fell -1 to an 86 overall. Justin Herbert fell -1 to an 86 overall. Another player who got hurt, which this doesn't make any sense to me because he's been playing, I won't say lights out, but he's been consistent. He's been balling. He's been doing his job. So it doesn't make any sense that he would fall -1 just because he got hurt. That's been an issue with EA for a while now. When players get hurt, they tend to drop them a point, and that doesn't make any sense if you ask me. So Bobby Okereke, if that's even how you say his name, fell -1 to an 85 overall. Jordan Poyer fell -1 to an 85 overall. Justin Tucker dropped -2 to 85 overall. Wow. The fact that Justin keeps dropping. Is his time almost up? I would assume that he's still a really solid kicker from what I've seen at least. But then again, he did miss that field goal against the Cowboys. So they probably docking him for that. But -2 is a little extreme if you ask me. Wyatt Teller fell -1 to an 85 overall. Brian O'Neill fell -1 to an 84 overall. Darius Williams, cornerback for the Rams, fell -1 to an 84 overall. Jamel Dean fell -2 to an 84 overall. And I could definitely see that. There's justification in that because them coming out putting on a performance that they put against the Broncos is nuts. TJ Edwards, linebacker for the Bears, fell -1 to an 84 overall. Kevin Dotson, guard for the Rams, fell -1 to an 83 overall. Tre'Davious White fell -1 to an 83 overall. Wow. That's kind of crazy to see not just Tre'Davious White, but the few Rams players that I have seen fall. After the game that they put on, after the performance they put on against the 49ers, yeah, that kind of doesn't make any sense to me. DeAndre Swift fell -1 to an 82 overall. Gabe Davis fell -1 to an 82 overall. And I would expect to see more Jaguars players drop because they just have not been what they should be so far this year. Montez Sweat fell -2 to an 82 overall. Quandre Diggs fell -1 to an 82 overall. Eric Armstead fell -1 to an 81 overall. I'm gonna cut it at that. But if you want to go check out and see all of the biggest movers, all of the biggest fallers, I'm going to put the link in the description box for the week 3 roster update so you can take a look at it for yourself. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. And if you're here and you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do so. Hit that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with all Madden 25 content going forward. So again, I appreciate you all. That's been my time. Till next time, peace.